My name is Isa Ho. In Mandarin is Meng-Chuan, and I come from Taiwan. I received ACC grant in 2013 and 16. I hear about ACC from the other artists' experience, travel to New York or the other countries. The experience from the other artists is quite unique compared to the other grant or program, and gave a lot of support for artists program. I think that's special, and I realized how powerful ACC could do.
Yeah. And when you applied and got your grant and traveled 2013, 2016, tell me from beginning to end what your project was intending to be when you applied. And then did it change at all once you actually got here? And what was the project?
It's a good question because it totally changed. I applied for research of multicultural. It's basically the serious issue in Taiwan. But after I arrived in New York, and I see that is not actually a problem. How multicultural works basically is respect and understanding. I think we have a more political problem in Taiwan. It's not multicultural at all. Of course, the point is I assigned to the apartment with other artists. And that was a so special experience because 4 artists. At the beginning, I just realized why my building full of old people, the senior people. And the senior people, they looks happy, they are active, they looks young. But they have a physical challenge, a lot of them. So they have all kind of working support, a wheelchair or all kind of them. They are the artist, their own, and the building and the history, and how is the connection between the artists and New York City. So I just starting to take photo of them, interview, video, and document what happened there. That's how it started. And I always say it's kind of life-changing because it's not related to my works before at all. And I just cannot stop it. So I continue filming next year till now. My work was nothing about a documentary. It's more contemporary photography, and most of them I presented in female perspective. So they are more visual and more to present my point of view, and also the humor of the Taiwanese artists. In the West Bed project, I thought about the policy of government for a city compared to Taiwan and New York. It's not like I try to make a strong visual experience. I just trying to telling a story, try different ways to tell the story.
I would love to know more about that. The center and the focus of ACC is this idea of cultural exchange and international dialogue. Can you tell me more about what specifically you were able to bring back to Taiwan and propose, even if it didn't change on a massive government scale? How has your own perspective about things as an artist, but also just as a person who's traveled internationally, how have you been able to take some of those ideas back to Taiwan, and what are some of those thoughts?
I think that how people see the project is really very different between people in New York and the people in Taiwan. How I show the project in Taiwan and New York are different too. In Taiwan, I will also show the catalog from the artist, from the building, and the history, and all the books about the policy of social housing or the artist housing. I also build the similar house in the exhibition for people to feel the vibe and to read the video and the books, the documents, to know more about the artist housing. But here, the New York, like a congressman, they came to my exhibition the other day. How they focusing is different. They focusing how I document the history of Westbeth, of New York, the people who living in New York, or the artists. They discuss if we should have more places like this for more artists able to live in Manhattan, able to continue in their work, their career. Then more personally is our history in Taiwan. I feel quite sad because our problem is we don't discuss our own history much, because all the family have their sad memory in the old time, the old generation. The culture of Asian people, we don't discuss death much. We don't discuss the sad story. But not in Westbeth. They talk everything. Maybe because they are Western people, maybe because they are artists. But I think it's good to discuss the things we don't want to touch it. Good to have a different opinion and good to say it loud. The way they live is very creative. Also shows many of artists, I met them, they create their own art till their very last day. Especially after the pandemic, I was quite anxious about, I don't know what artists can do. I feel useless. But after all this, I think maybe all we left could be art. So I think art could really make difference. It's really important because our government always asks about what's the value of art, a real value of art. Art do have a value and important.
While you were here, or even since 2013 up until now, are there other ACC alumni who you were able to build friendships with? Are there people that you still tend to keep in touch with, specifically ACC, and you've done any kind of collaboration with them?
ACC helped introduce me a curator of ICP, and he gave me a tour. I able to go into every studio and their classroom and their collection. It was very nice experience. And the curator, our relationship continued to now. Also, a curator, she was the grantee, Abby Chen. She curated a show including me in Asia Cultural Museum and Peabody Mass Museum. And this time I came to New York. She fly from San Francisco,
California, to here.
I really enjoyed talk to her.
Yeah. In the end, I feel like that's a lot of what the whole point is anyway. Obviously, if you can do work in collaboration, that's great. But more importantly, and going back to the first thing that you were describing about hearing from different artists about ACC in the first place, the fact that they were able to go on their international journey and make relationships while they're here and through the network is so important, to be able to actually immerse yourself and live in a new space. So while you're here, what are you trying to do?
Every time I came to New York, I went to some courses. It's really difficult to take photography courses in Taiwan. We don't have a sort of thing. And in New York always have the best teacher, the best equipment, and the best people. I love it so much.
Are there things about your story and your work that you think are important to talk about that I haven't asked you about yet?
I really would like to say, I think the idea of ACC is really work. I mean, as a grantee to come to New York, it's really life-changing. The cultural exchange for myself is wider and wider. I feel and I learn I can find a way, I can find a solution different ways. It's very important for especially the artists in Taiwan. So I always like to come to office to say thank you to anyone.
It's impactful to know how it resonated with you and how that resonating still is coming into fruition now.